Friday night, 7:19 p.m. of the 27th of February. One more day left in this month. 2026, a leap year. This was the year of the Winter Olympics, and the thing that impressed me the most was the ice skating, which was quite beautiful, and it's impossible for me to really understand how they can get their bodies to do those on such sharp blades. Our intro view is NGC 2246, which we exited on in the previous series, 2200 to 2249. It's a nebula in Monoceros, 80 by 60 arc-minute emissive type, 7,800 light-years distant, with an RA of 632.33 and a declination of 5 degrees, 7 minutes and 41 seconds. We have quite a few studies to get through this evening. Let's push on. NGC 2250 is an open cluster, and I'm futzing around making sure that we can get rid of those comet tails. In Monoceros, magnitude 8.9, a mere 8 arc-minutes in size, some 10 stars, the brightest of which are magnitude 12. It's a class 4 uncondensed 2, so the stellar magnitudes are proximal to each other. 5,800 light-years distant, RA 633.49 with a declination of minus 5 degrees, 5 minutes and 6 seconds. NGC 2251 is this nice sprinkling of stars right there in the field. Open cluster in Monoceros. Collective magnitude of 7.3, 10 arc-minutes in size, 30 stars, the brightest of which are magnitude 9.1. Let's have a 75x view. It's a class 4, too, so kind of sprawling, but the stars are of similar magnitude. 4,300 light-years distant. RA 634.38 with a declination of plus 8 degrees, 22 minutes, and 0 seconds. NGC 2252 is a nebula and open cluster in Monoceros. This looks familiar, but it's not. This is our cluster here. The scope did move quite a ways. Magnitude 7.7 collectively, 20 arc-minutes in size, 30 stars. Brightest are magnitude 9. It's a class 4-2, so kind of sprawling, although similar in magnitudes. 2,900 light-years distant. RA is 634.42 with a declination of plus 5 degrees, 22 minutes, and odd seconds. NGC 2254 is another open cluster in Monoceros. I suspect it's right down in this region. It's a mere 4 arc-minutes in size. Yes, that makes sense. 50 stars, but brightest are magnitude 11.9. It's a class 1-2, which means highly condensed, with moderately disparate magnitude, 7,700 light-years distant, RA 635.49 with a declination of plus 7 degrees, 40 minutes, and 24 seconds. NGC 2259 is an open cluster in Monoceros. It's magnitude 10.8, 4.5 arc-minutes in size. Whoa, that's a sweet-looking, faint, open cluster. Brightest stars are magnitude 14. Well, that gives you an idea of what magnitude 14 stars look like when you got a gibbous moon illuminating the sky. It's class 2-2, middling. 10,800 light-years distant, RA 638.21 with a declination of plus 10 degrees, 53 minutes. Pushing it up a little bit, getting a little more detailed view, a little brighter view, and out. NGC 2260 is a rather obvious, although broadly spaced, open cluster in Monoceros, 20 arc-minutes in size, 50 stars. Brightest are magnitude 8, 6,500 light-years distant, with an RA of 6 hours, 38 minutes, 3 seconds, and a declination of minus 1, 28.24. Here's another one of those little spot nebulosities that we like to see. NGC 2261 in Monoceros, 2 by 1 arc-minutes, both emissive and reflective. But boy, that would have excited somebody about finding a comet, wouldn't it? 2,500 light-years distant, RA is 639.09 with a declination of plus 8 degrees, 44 minutes, and 39 seconds. And yes, I did go back to the 5-second exposure time after that view of NGC 2246 leading in to this series. NGC 2262 is another open cluster, and it is a sweet little sprinkling, isn't it? In Monoceros. Magnitude 11.3, 3.5 arc minutes in size, 35 stars, a class 1, very condensed, 2, a little bit disparate magnitudes, 11,700 light years distant with an RA of 639.38, declination of plus 1 degree, 8 minutes and 36 seconds. Well, we got some tails here. Hold on. NGC 2263, obviously one of these wasn't a tail, is a galaxy in Canis Majoris, magnitude 12.1, 2.6 by 1.6 arc minutes. It's quite visible on the screen, although I think it just got attacked by a satellite. Here's a galaxy present right there. Okay, as I said, magnitude 12.1, 2.7 by 1.6 arc minute spiral with a bar, lowercase ab, and an annularity, 122 million light years distant. Probably puts it at about 100,000 light years in diameter. Let's push it up to 105x view. RA 638.28 with a declination of minus 24 degrees, 50 minutes and 52 seconds. NGC 2264, guess what it is? Now, I bet you didn't guess it's a nebula as well, but it is certainly an open cluster in Monoceros, magnitude 3.9. Maybe this was one we... 20 arc minutes in size, 40 stars, brightest of which are magnitude 5. That baby is a visible, unaided star right in the middle of this cluster. Class 3.3, 2,300 light years distant. I doubt that star in the middle is actually a member. RA is 6 hours, 40 minutes, 58 seconds with a declination of plus 9 degrees, 53 minutes, 42 seconds. Okay, NGC 2265 is another one of those groups of stars, and it's in Gemini. It does appear to be something that might resemble it. 10 by 5 arc minutes in size, RA 641.41, declination plus 11 degrees, 54 minutes, 18 seconds. Okay, we're getting some reflected moonlight off the roof try for NGC 2266, an open cluster in Gemini. There it is, very sweet. Magnitude 9.5 collectively, 7 arc minutes, 50 stars, brightest are magnitude 11, class 2, 111,100 light years in distance. RA 643.19 with a declination of plus 26.58.12. NGC 2269 is an open cluster in Monoceros, magnitude 10. Mere 12 stars. The brightest are magnitude 11.6, class 2, 5,500 light years distant. RA 643.17 with a declination of plus 4 degrees, 37 minutes, 30 seconds. And I want you to note how this open cluster began to declare itself as we got a few more stacks at 5 seconds each. NGC 2270 is another open cluster, once again in the unicorn Monoceros. We seem to be getting something streaking through the sky there. Please make a rapid right-hand turn, or left-hand, doesn't matter to me. It's 4,600 light years distant, RA 643.57 with a declination of plus 3 degrees, 28 minutes and 42 seconds. NGC 2271 is a departure from open clusters. We're looking for a galaxy in Canis Majoris, magnitude 12.2. 2.1 by 1.4 arc minute, spiral of a lenticular class, and a bar. 110 million light years distant means it's probably somewhere around 70,000 light years in diameter. RA 642.52 with a declination of minus 23 degrees, 28 minutes, 33 seconds. NGC 2272 is another galaxy in Canis Majoris. And let's check out the aspect ratio on this one. Magnitude 11.7, 2.4 by 1.6 arc minute. It looks kind of faint, but the moon's out tonight. 88 million light years distant lenticular spiral. RA 642.41 with a declination of minus 27 degrees. I might want to back out a little bit here. 27 minutes 33 seconds. NGC 2274 is suffering from the moonlight and the lateness of the hour. Probably one of these two galaxies here. In Gemini, magnitude 12.1. It is 2.4 by 2.4 arc-minute elliptical, which means it's going to have very bright core. Probably this one. 231 million light years distant, means probably about 170,000 light years in diameter. RA is 647.17 with a declination of plus 33 degrees, 34 minutes and 1 second. And that diameter is pretty large for an elliptical class galaxy. All galaxies tend to condense over time unless they absorb other galaxies. Okay, this second galaxy here, slightly further to the east, is NGC 2275 in Gemini. Magnitude 13.1, 1.3 by 0.9 arc minutes, spire with a lowercase ab. We're getting encroaching moonlight. 220 million light years distant puts it about 80,000 light years in diameter, maybe 75. RA 647.17 with a declination of plus 33 degrees, 35 minutes and 56 seconds. That moonlight that we're seeing here, by the way, is a passing high-thin cloud, not reflection off a neutron. NGC 2280, if we can find it, is a galaxy in Canis Majoris. It should be quite visible, however, because it is magnitude 10.3, but very large, 6.6 by 3.2 arc minutes in size. I do believe we're seeing it right there. Let's center it up. It is a spiral with a lowercase c, not much of a core. 81 million light years distant. However, that puts it at about 150,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 6 hours, 44 minutes, 49 seconds with a declination of minus 27 degrees, 38 minutes and 20 seconds. Not a bad view given a gibbous moon and high, thin passing clouds. Well, folks, as it turns out, NGC 2281, an open cluster in Auriga, is too far north. Magnitude 5.4, 15 arc minutes in size, 30 stars. Brightest star magnitude 7.3. It's a class 1, Latin 3, Arabic. 1,800 light years distant. RA 648.17, declination plus 4104.42. Go to theskylive.com for anything that you want to see a great view of. Basically, they were all images taken with a 48-inch Schmidt camera. Not all, but most. At Mount Palomar in the late 1940s, early 1950s. And they are 150x views, 30 arc minutes in size. A very optimal magnification. I think they used 4x4 plates. Plates back then were as a tenth as sensitive as a imager such as the ZWO imager is today, but they did cover quite a bit of the sky, 4x4 inches, and a 48-inch telescope. Very nice. NGC 2282 is a nebula in Monoceros. Let's get an idea of its size. It's a mere 3x3 arc minutes. It should be one of those bright stars with luminosity around it. We've seen several examples over the last few nights. 5,500 light year distant emissive type, RA 646.51 with a declination of plus 1 degree, 18 minutes and 55 seconds. I cannot tell you whether or not we're seeing it. No, I'm not picking it out. Go and check out Steve Gottlieb's site, and maybe I'll back it out so you can see if there's any nice references in the field of view. No bright stars. Anyway, check it out if you're interested, or go to theskylive.com and have a look at NGC 2282. RA 646.51, declination plus 1 degree, 18 minutes and 55 seconds. NGC 2283 is another galaxy in Canis Majoris. Clearly, Canis Majoris is outside the realms of the galactic plane, which I think passes through Monoceros. Its magnitude 12.2. 3.6 by 2.7 arc minutes. Shifting things around, backing out. Remember, it'll be up around this region. Spiral with a bar and lowercase c, so not much of a core. Something right there. I'm going to center that baby up. Let it have a few more stacks. 33 million light years distant. This one's a smallie, maybe 35,000 light years in diameter. RA 64552 with a declination of minus 181238. Now we've got a few stacks. Let's go to the 105x view. And hopefully we can claim that we have actually imaged NGC 2283. NGC 2286 is an open cluster in Monoceros. Oh, another nice little sweet sprinkling of tiny opalescent pearls. Magnitude 7.5, 15 arc minutes in size, some 50 stars. Brightest are magnitude 9.7, class 4.3, 9,000 light years distant. RA 64740, declination minus 3 degrees, 8 minutes and 54 seconds. Okay, we are now having a view of a classic open cluster from the Charles Messier era. This is NGC 2287 open cluster in Canis Majoris. It's also Messier 41. Collective magnitude is 4.5, 38 arc minutes in size, some 80 stars. The brightest are magnitude 6.9. It's a class 2.3. Fairly condensed, but disparate magnitudes. 2,300 light years distant, RA 64601 with a declination of minus 20 degrees, 45 minutes and 24 seconds. Port Charles atop the Hotel Cluny in Paris. He was even 4 degrees further north than I am, so had even poorer a view of the southern declinations. But he did spot this one. Messier 41, NGC 2287. What I'd like to be seeing here is NGC 2288. It's a galaxy in Gemini, the twins, magnitude 14.4. It's probably further to the south here, if visible at all. It is tiny, 0.2 by 0.2 arc minute elliptical. 226 million light years distant, RA 65051 with a declination of plus 33 degrees, 27 minutes and 44 seconds. Backing out a little bit to make it easier to kind of navigate to if you use adventuresindeepspace.com, I am not picking it out. How about you? Maybe right here. Maybe. So he'll probably, maybe Steve will reference this, what I consider to be probably an 11th magnitude star, and then it would be almost due east of this star here. NGC 2288 had a neighbor. And the scope hardly clicked at all. It's another galaxy in Gemini, magnitude 13.2, 1.1 by 0.6 arc minutes. I'm just kind of wondering, since it hardly moved at all, if perhaps this pair of galaxies is located right there. And backing out once again, what's our reference? Well, it appears to be a brightest star there to the southeast of this pair of faintish galaxies being moonwashed in our field of view, if indeed these are our studies. NGC 2288 and 89. 89 is magnitude 13.2, 1.1 by 0.6 lenticular spiral, 229 million light years distant, maybe 70,000 light years diameter. RA 65053, declination plus 33 degrees, 28 minutes and 44 seconds. There is also an NGC 2290. Let's go make sure that I relaunch so we get a sense of where it is located. NGC 2290 is in the same region of space as 8889. This one's magnitude 13.2, 1.2 by 0.7 arc-minute spiral with a lowercase a. 229 million light years distant, 1.2 by 0.7 arc minutes, probably somewhere around 75,000 light years in diameter. We have hardly moved at all. We're at RA 650.56 with a declination of plus 33 degrees, 26 minutes, 15 seconds. That limited amount of motion encourages the idea of going to the skylive.com and checking on the location of each of these galaxies. Potentially, we have them right in this region here. Okay, without skipping around, we also have an NGC 2291 galaxy in Gemini, magnitude 13.2, 1 by 1 lenticular, 238 million light years distant. So probably somewhere around 75,000 light years in diameter. We're at RA 650.58 with a declination of plus 33 degrees, 31 minutes, 31 seconds. We've had 15 stacks with none ignored. I'm going to go ahead and relaunch the stacks just to see where this bright star moves to with NGC 2291. Well, we got hardly any motion at all on NGC 2291. Of course, we're back to 2 stacks now. So these galaxies must all be in this very tight region there. I'll come back to it in a second as I search out who our next study is to be. Okay, our next study will be in Canis Majoris. So we got, I think it was 2288 through 2291, some 4 galaxies, and they do bear some research. TheSkyLive.com for visual images taken with a 48-inch split camera, 20 to 60 minute exposure times, or Steve Gottlieb's range of scopes, everything from like ST80 type occasionally, all the way up to a 48-inch scope that he uses in the southern hemisphere, I believe. So we're going to go on to NGC 2292 next. Okay, NGC 2292. It's a galaxy in Canis Majoris. Now, there's several possibilities on the field. Let's see what it is. It's magnitude 10.8, so I'm going to center up this brightest galaxy. 4 by 3.5 arc minutes. Let's go back to our 105x view. It looks like it has several neighbors, frankly, and we may have imaged these earlier. We'll see. 101 million light years distant puts it probably somewhere around 130,000 light years in diameter. Spiral with a bar of lenticular class, RA 64739 with a declination of minus 2644.47. Okay, NGC 2293 is another as a neighbor. Oh, I punched in the wrong values. Give me a moment. You got to be careful with a Gemini handset. It'll put letters in instead of numbers if you fumble finger it. NGC 2293 is a galaxy in Canis Majoris, slightly fainter, magnitude 11.2, also quite large, 4 by 3.2 arc minutes, 88 million light years distance, so it's probably closer than the last. Spiral with a bar, lenticular A, right ascension 647.42, with a declination of minus 2645.15. So we've had this. We got several galaxies. It's just going to have to be done. The research has to go. You got to go to adventuresindeepspace.com. I may not. Depends on how busy I am tomorrow with other projects, especially the music. Wow, I cannot believe it's now 8 o'clock, 4 minutes in the evening, and I'm still not getting roof tri blockages, although I'm not completely up to 45 degrees. What we're seeing here is NGC, or not seeing here, is NGC 2294. It's a galaxy in Gemini. I believe this is the same group we were in previously. Magnitude 13.8, 0.8 by 0.4 arc minute, elliptical class 6, 230 million light years distant. With a right ascension of 651.11 and a declination of plus 33 degrees, 31 minutes, and 36 seconds, probably part of that 22 88 group, I believe that was the designation. Pushing it up to 100% E-zoom, 150x. There's that bright star we used as a reference earlier. Possibly a galaxy here. Magnitude 13.8, but very hard to tell with this luminous background sky due to a gibbous moon. NGC 2295 is a galaxy in Canis Majoris, magnitude 12.7. Several candidates here. Maybe the same group. 2.1 by 0.6 arc minutes. Ooh, let's see. This is a brightie and it's longer. But by 0.6, we should be looking for an edge-on galaxy here. Let's push it up to 105. There's an edge-on right there. 12.7, 2.1 by 0.6, spiral lowercase ab, 74 million light years distant, maybe 50,000 light years in diameter. RA 647.23 with a declination of minus 26.4410. NGC 2296 is a nebula in Canis Majoris, and I suspect this is very, very close to Sirius, the brightest star in our sky, night sky, unless there's a supernova. It's a nebula, Canis Majoris, magnitude 13. I'm seeing something here. It looks more like a galaxy. Let's get some more information. It's 0.6 by 0.4 reflective nebula. It sure looks galactic, doesn't it? Right ascension is 648.39 with a declination of minus 16.5406. Pressing it up. Yeah, that's probably our nebulosity right there with a bright progenitor star illuminating its reflective nature. Back down to 105x, beauty shot with some depth and out. Okay, I didn't have a lot of confidence that we were going to get all the way through the NGC 2200 to 2299 series tonight. They will be separate because there's too many studies in each. We're up to about 27 and a half minutes now. This is NGC 2299, an open cluster in Monoceros. It's also NGC 2302. Magnitude 8.9. It says it's a mere 2.5 arc minutes in size, so this must be a separate region of stellar production. Some 30 stars, so maybe right in this region here. Brightest are magnitude 10.2. It's a class 2-2 middling open cluster, 4,900 light years distant. RA is 651.55, declination minus 7 degrees, 5 minutes. We've covered about 15 minutes of space, 1/4 of 15 degrees in terms of right ascension. So we've covered about 1/4 of 15 degrees, about 4 degrees of sky tonight, and we have now progressed to very close to Sirius, which is not quite culminating. If I get pretty decent weather, I should be able to stay on track. However, it's going to get very challenging later on. Once the comet Virgo galaxies come up, you're going to spend a lot of time in the same RA. So this is a very nice view to go out on. NGC 2299, also aka 2302, an open cluster in Monoceros. And with that, and this nice view of stellar populated space, I'm going to say Carpe Noctem.